Hi readers, Lee here. Welcome back to my channel, Lila Wanders and Reads, and welcome to Book Talk Tuesday. So this is the first Tuesday of February, and for February this month, each Tuesday, I'm going to do a Black History Month video highlighting Black authors. I'd like to tell you that I prepared for this without any book hauls because I have plenty of Black authors to highlight, but that would be a lie. I did not one, but two book hauls. It's like an addiction at this point. So, today's edition is the Booker edition, of course. All of these books that I'm going to talk about were either shortlisted or longlisted for the Booker Prize at some point in the past 20 some odd years. I did not choose any winners, because that's another Booker project. Anywho, let's get started. First up, 2004 long list, Purple Hibiscus by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I apologize in advance if I mispronounce any of these names. Hmm. 15-year-old Kambili and her older brother, I'm not sure if it's Yaya or Jaja, I don't know how to pronounce Nigerian names, lead a privileged life. They live in a beautiful house in the city of Enugu, Nigeria, and they attend an exclusive missionary school. But their home life is anything but harmonious. Although their religious father is a respected businessman, at home he has impossible expectations of his children and wife. When Kambili's loving and outspoken aunt persuades her brother that the children should visit her, Kambili and Jaja take their first trip away from home. Once inside their Auntie Ifeoma's flat in the smaller city of Nsukka, they discover a whole new world. And when they return home, changed by their newfound freedom, nothing can be the same as before. Tension within the family escalates, and Kambili must find the strength to keep her loved ones together, even after her mother commits a desperate act. This is really intriguing to me. Obviously, there's an abusive father. In line one, it starts about the young boy not going to communion, and Papa flung his heavy missile across the room and broke the figurines on the etagere. I really look forward to reading this. If you've read this, I'd love to hear what you think about it. Next up is the only book in this list in this pile that I have read. I read My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite back in probably 2019, which is when it was longlisted for the Booker Prize, and I absolutely adored it. I had a hard copy then, and I gave it away to a friend, and I've been thinking about it ever since, so I went ahead and bought a new copy of this. I look forward at some point in the future to rereading this. Probably not this year, but I liked it so much, and I don't remember a lot of it, so I liked it so much that I definitely wanted to keep a copy for myself. This does not say where it's set, does it? And I don't, like I said, I don't remember. Much of it. Anyhow, Koredi's sister Ayoola is many things. The favorite child, the beautiful one, possibly sociopathic. And now, Ayoola's third boyfriend in a row is dead, stabbed through the heart with Ayoola's knife. Koredi's practicality is the sister's saving grace. She knows the best solutions for cleaning blood, bleach, and more bleach, the best way to move a body, wrap it in sheets like a mummy. And she keeps Ayoola from posting pictures to Instagram when she should be mourning her missing boyfriend. Not that she gets any credit. Korede has long been in love with a kind, handsome doctor at the hospital where she works. She dreams of the day when he will realize that she's exactly what he needs. But when he asks Korede for Ayoola's phone number, she must reckon with what her sister has become and how far she's willing to go to protect her. You know, a lot of times when I read a book and I don't remember, I info dump it really quick, or whatever. But what I'm left with is a feeling about a book. And my feeling about this is so great. I really loved this book. It is, at its core, I think, a tale of sisters and what the links you'll go for to. Jesus, I can't speak today. Okay. So I highly recommend My Sister the Serial Killer. I think I went into it thinking it was a horror, but it's really literary fiction. Love it. Next up is another one that I'm excited to read. The theme of a lot of my reading this year has been war and turmoil and refugees and immigration, and I expect that to continue on, especially with The Shadow King by Maza Mengista. This was 2020 shortlisted for the Booker Prize. And really, to be on the short list is fantastic. To be on the long list is fantastic too, because it brings your work as an author to a lot of people who may not have had access to it. And this is also World War II adjacent, because I learned something in the past 2 years that I had not known about. Set during Mussolini's 1935 invasion of Ethiopia, that's what I didn't know about, The Shadow King takes us back to the first real conflict of World War II, casting light on the women soldiers who were left out of historical record. Another theme for this year, women. At its heart is orphan maid Hirut, who finds herself tumbling into a new world of thefts and violations, of betrayals and overwhelming rage. What follows is a heart-rending and unputdownable exploration of what it means to be a woman at war. I said 2020? Oh my goodness, is it 2 timelines? It is 2 timelines. Because the prologue starts in 1974. She does not want to remember, but she is here, and memory is gathering bones. That's going up to read this month, for sure. Okay. I'm also excited for the next one, but I'm trying to push it back a little bit, because when I read the same author too close together, I start to get burnt out on them. But shortlisted for the Booker Prize in 2022 was Percival Everett's The Trees. I only discovered, air quotes, Percival Everett last year when the movie American Fiction came out, and I realized it was based on a book, so naturally I ran out and bought Erasure, read it. Some parts of it went way over my head, and then of course last year for my Booker project, I read James, which was fantastic. So in Trees, when a pair of detectives from the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation arrive in Money, Mississippi to investigate a series of brutal murders, they find at each crime scene an unexpected second dead body, that of a man who resembles Emmett Till. After meeting resistance from the local sheriff, his deputy, the coroner, and a string of racist white townsfolk, the MBI detectives suspect these are killings of retribution. Slow down, Lee. Then they discover eerily similar murders taking place in rapid succession all over the country. The past, it seems, refuses to be buried. The uprising has begun, and this provocative page-turner that takes direct aim at racism and police violence, Percival Everett offers a devastating critique of white supremacy and confronts the painful legacy of lynching in the U.S. This theme reminds me of another book that's not featured in this video, but that I went right out to Barnes & Noble to buy. That one's more crime fiction, which I don't read much anymore. But that theme of retribution and lynching, essentially. So that one looks really good too. And I love Percival Everett as an author. How am I going to choose what to read next? Finally, this is one I've had since not long after it was published. Night Crawling by Lila Motley was longlisted for the 2022 Booker Prize. This treatise was shortlisted for that same year. And I've had this probably since 2022. I have not yet got to it. I want to, but it's just so many books, so little time. Kiara and her brother Marcus are scraping by in an East Oakland apartment complex optimistically called the Regal High. Both have dropped out of high school, their family fractured by death and prison. But while Marcus clings to his dream of rap stardom, Kiara hunts for work to pay their rent, which has more than doubled, and to keep the 9-year-old boy next door, abandoned by his mother, safe and fed. One night, what begins as a drunken misunderstanding with a stranger turns into the job Kiara never imagined wanting, but now desperately needs: night crawling. Her world breaks open even further when her name surfaces in an investigation that exposes her as a key witness in a massive scandal within the Oakland Police Department. So she's a new author, and this is I think it's her debut novel. Yes, it's her first novel. And I just don't know when I'm going to get to it. I want to. All of these books I want to get to, except for My Sister the Serial Killer, because I've already gotten to that. Anywho, this is my Booker edition for Black History Month. If you've read any of these authors, I'd love to hear from you. If you have not, I'd love to hear from you anyway. I like a diverse collection of books because when I read something that is not about me, I learn something. For example, and I don't have this book here, I meant to put this in another video. I started out Black History Month by reading, and I'm still reading, Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. And I learned something already in that I did not expect to learn, and that is that France didn't outlaw capital punishment until 1981, and their last use of the guillotine was in 1977. When I think of the guillotine, I think of it as something from like the 1800s. But no, it's not. So, reading diversely teaches me things. It lets me learn about places of the world that I would not necessarily have learned about. It lets me understand, it gives me empathy, and helps me understand different cultures. So, if you have any recommendations, please, I'd love to hear from you down in the comments. And as always, thank you for sticking with me on my journey. Happy reading!